Hi there and welcome. You are listening to The Hoof of the Horse, a podcast dedicated to farriery and equine science with Dr. Simon Curtis.
We're sitting here in the beautiful African sun in Summerbelt, which is the training centre just outside Durban, up in the hills. And I'm here speaking to Robbie Dawson about his life as a farrier. Robbie, when did you first start shoeing?
First started shoeing in the very late 70s, early 80s, here in South Africa. That was the start of my shoeing. I worked for my brother, Johnny, and it's just been ongoing ever since then.
Okay, did you come from a horse family or a horse
background? Absolutely, yeah. My whole family were horse orientated. As I say, my brother's a farrier, my two nephews are now farriers. Big horsey connections. My sister was a show jumper, my mum ran a riding school. So, we're all connected.
And your family's from this part of South Africa?
No, my family, obviously my immediate family, my mum was from Australia and my dad was from Ireland. So we were all born up in Zambia. That's where we started everything.
Okay. Now I know that you haven't spent all your time as a farrier here, and you did go to England for a while. And I wondered when that was and why you travelled there.
So what I did was, after I completed my national service, which was 2 years, where I was utilised as a farrier for the Defence Force in South Africa. I did come out having a little bit more knowledge, not a hell of a lot, and I just felt it was the right thing to do, to go and qualify as best as I can. Over in the United Kingdom, obviously having a British passport made travelling that much easier for me. What I did was, my first year in the United Kingdom, I worked in a steeplechasing yard just as a lad in the yard, which was a great experience for me. I'd never experienced that. And then I was actually offered the job to be an apprentice farrier in the United Kingdom, where I was assessed by yours truly, Mr. Curtis, and I got a shortened apprenticeship, which I was very grateful for, and completed my diploma in middle of 1993. That's when I completed my diploma. And that was.
And you were with Jerry Baker?
I was with Jerry Baker, who was my mentor and a great man. But I also, Jerry's connections, your Colin Smiths and Gary Pickfords and those guys, they all helped out. Jerry's brother Peter also helped me out, and then I had numerous support from Hereford Training College, which was unbelievable. It was just ever so grateful for that for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and you were shoeing there in the Lamborn area, so you were doing a mixture of flat horses and steeplechase? Yes,
that's correct, and quite a few hunters. And then my boss Jerry at the time, we also bought some pointers, and he got me going on the pointers, and I rode quite a few pointers, and I schooled a couple of show jumpers for him. So it was all round real good quality of life I had. I can never regret going abroad. It was fantastic.
Just the cold weather, eh?
Well, that does play a part in you. You would think with part of my family being from Ireland that I'd have a little bit of tolerance inbred in me, but it wasn't to be.
So what type of horses are you shoeing today?
Well, predominantly I'm shoeing thoroughbred racehorses. I've got to the stage of my life where they're just lighter for me. I'm a very tall bloke, and to be honest, I really don't want to be in a wheelchair in my 60s. So I find that the thoroughbred is a wonderful horse to shoe. I don't travel a lot, so I don't sit in a car for hundreds of kilometers a day or anything like that. And I've got a fantastic team of guys that everybody plays their part, and it makes the job easy. And just really fortunate for the people that I work for. They've been fantastic to me, and and I've got a great team, and I've got a lot of support from everybody in the area. Yeah.
So tell me something about the Summerbelt, the training area here and the system.
Well, it's as you can see, it's not sort of what you would see abroad in a fashion. It is an establishment. That's what it's really well known as. We have also got a jockey academy that puts the kids through a proper apprenticeship. But the training itself, we got various trainers that are allocated different yards, and the numbers increase in various yards. I mean, I think my top yard has got 140 odd horses, and my bottom yard has, I think, got about 41. So, they're various sizes, and they've got a system where they've got their strings of horses like every other big racing yard. You've got your first, second and third strings, and your top horses are out early. The times do change because of the weather. So your summer you will start early because it's light earlier, and the big horses will work early in the morning because it's cooler.
Okay. Now, because I've had the good luck to go out with you all this morning and see, we went to 3 racing yards, and that was great fun. And you've got a team of yourself and 5 others? Four others. And you work as a team, don't you? You have almost a production line system. So if you can tell us something about that.
Okay, so the thing is, in South Africa, from that point of view, is that a production line, yes, you could call it that. I would say it's a bit more of a conveyor belt kind of method, but again, we have to shoe numbers in this country because, as you know, our currency is not worth very much, and it is expensive outlay, so we have to do the numbers. So if you do the sort of maths on it, if you're sitting in a vehicle, you're losing money and you're losing time. And so we base ourselves here. Probably the furthest I drive within the Summerbelt establishment is probably 4 or 5 kilometers a day. That's how far I go. So, from that aspect, and I have to get through the numbers. I've got I've got commitments and what have you. So, but the thing is, we are on call 7 days a week, and I can get to any one of my yards within 5 minutes. With a problem that needs to be sorted out immediately, I can get there. So I provide a very good service. But on the whole, 99.9% of my horses can run tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, the system that I've got, it might not, people might look at it and think, oh my goodness, my guys are pretty skilled. They are watched, and everybody makes mistakes, and they don't do it intentionally. But I mean, that is just the world of shoeing over. Everybody does make mistakes, and nobody intentionally goes out to lame horses. But and I'm not saying it never happens, but touch wood, for the last 4 years we haven't had any major problems.
Well, I have to say I was impressed with the skill in the system. Nobody was rushing, but you were getting through numbers of horses, weren't you? You had a good system, and you kept everything moving along all the time.
Yeah, it's just really productive, and it's a system that nobody gets fatigued. I think, when you're tired and you shoe in horses, that's when the drama happens. The horses get upset. You've been shoeing horses all day, your back's sore. The horses tend to feel it. Whereas this way, it just saves you time. It saves you energy. You can put your good energy into the horses, and it's just great. And my team of guys are very skilled horsemen. They've all been with me. I think the shortest one has been with me for 9 years. The rest are all 9 years and above.
Yeah.
So we know each other really well. And the nice thing is, they do talk my language, but I also talk their language, and it's absolutely perfect. The whole thing just works, which is positive and moving forward, and that's what we do.
Okay, yeah, because I noticed you speak Zulu.
Yeah.
So what I'd like you to say is,
Okay.
in Zulu,
Yeah.
can you shoe that horse for me?
Okay, I'm gonna say it in Zulu, and what it's gonna be is, I'm not gonna mention your name, but I'm going to mention a name which means it's a respectful name. Okay, so it's going to be Ketla, which is the older generation. So I'm going to say, Ketla, please ngiyacela wena ufake icathulo mahashiyami. So that means, please could you, old man, please could you put some shoes on my horse?
Very well said. I want to hear you. I want to hear the Zulu click.
Click.
All right, onto a slightly different subject. South Africa has had a number of associations over the years, but I know you've been something of a leading light in the formation of, should we say, the latest version,
Yep.
which is the South African Professional Farriers Association. So can you tell us about that and how it came about and some of its history?
Okay, as you quite rightly said, there have been numerous associations in South Africa, and they've never really taken off. We've had membership grow and then it wanes. It sort of it seemed to be like a fad, you know. At the time, for the first 3 months, it flew and then it just all disappeared. Anyway, myself and Robbie Miller, I sat down and spoke to him because of the Association of Professional Farriers in America came up. And I said to Robbie, you know, looking at their system, it actually, if we kind of adopted that system, but changed it for our farriers and the South African version of it. And we spoke about it for about a year. So there was always planning going on in the back of your mind and Robbie's mind, and we spoke on a daily basis about it. And eventually we did come to the fore with it, and we introduced it, and everybody was skeptical because of what had happened in the past with with the unsuccessful ones. And lo and behold, it's really taken off, and it's taken us places that we never thought we would get to. So it's just been a wonderful ride, and the support that you get has been unbelievable. You know, as I say, we've had a lot of Americans over, we've had Australians, and the strength and numbers has grown astronomically. And it wasn't really, it was just ideas Robbie and I chucked around, and we sort of put it all together and put it out there, and the guys they just joined. I mean, we've got a couple of girl farriers in South Africa, Candy and Tara. I mean, they're fantastic farriers, and yeah, they're on board with us. So it's just, and it's really nice because we're all like a big family. There doesn't seem to be much animosity with the farriers in South Africa as much as there used to be. You know, there was always two sides to the story, or three sides, should I say, your side, my side, and the right side, you know. But we haven't had any trouble like that, and it's been an absolute pleasure. And yeah, it's just amazing how it's taken off, and long may it last. I think it's been the longest surviving one, and the most well attended, or should I say subscribed to association that we've ever had, and it just seems to be getting stronger. So obviously we're doing something right.
Well, congratulations, because farrier associations the world over have problems.
Yeah.
And so well done for getting it going again. Can you tell us what sort of events you put on, and what the focus is of the association?
Yeah, the main focus of the association is obviously education. There's always room for education, and that is just, that's come to the fore. You know, you've got your Robbie Millers. We've had the sort of FITS exams come over here, which is the Farrier International Testing System that falls under our umbrella, and that's been a huge incentive for guys to get some sort of qualification, because we had nothing. There was no qualification. There's no farrier colleges here. So what has transpired is that we've got clinics that happen, we've got competitions, we've got international competitions. That is just in the last 5 to 6 years this has come about, which is absolutely amazing. And they are well attended. We've had great clinicians. We've had Craig Trinker, Dusty Franklin, Chris Gregory, Nikki Smith. Simon Curtis, obviously, which we'll get to just now, when I'm finished telling the story. And what the FITS exam has done is actually act as a stepping stone for guys to get papers. And then we had a big international competition in Cape Town where Craig Trinker was at, and Simon asked us to pay for his ticket, and he came and presented his new sort of thesis on hoof growth, foal growth, etc. And it was an amazing experience, and we spoke to him about if the Worshipful Company would ever be interested in coming to South Africa. And he said, look, if you get the numbers, yes. And we've done it, and pretty successfully. Obviously, you have teething problems, which happens with any new sort of examination or competition, but on the whole, it was very, very successful, and it's just going to go from strength to strength. So, the Worshipful Company of Farriers have been absolutely fantastic in allowing this to happen, because for us to go over and qualify in the United Kingdom is going to be impossible because we're not affiliated to any farriers over there. You'd have to do your time. Whereas them coming out here has just opened so many doors, and you will see that this will grow and grow and grow. And what more do you want? A whole bunch of good qualified farriers.
Yeah. Well, I have to say that the reason I'm able to do this interview with you, Robbie, is because I'm here, as you know, for the exams. And we were really pleased with the level. And of course, I came here 12 or 13 years ago to Pretoria, and I can see the change in standard. It is quite tangible, the change in standard of farriery skills here in the last 12 years. So well done to you and your association.
Well,
you really got it moving.
Yeah, we have got it moving, Simon, and thanks for that. But at the end of the day, in the 12, 13 years ago, the guys weren't making shoes. I mean, I thought I was a farrier when I went to the United Kingdom. Well, that cut me short, very short. I had never made a shoe in my life. But you learn, and if you want it, you go and get it. And 12, 13 years ago when you were here, very few farriers could make shoes. Yeah. And that's where they've come in that time. And the new generation of farriers coming through are so thirsty for knowledge. They want to learn, they want to, and it's just a win-win situation, which is perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, well, as I say, we were most impressed, and we had great facilities, and we've been really well looked after. So that's all down to the farriers here. And I hope it continues. I'm sure it will continue into the future. Now we come to the deep philosophical question for you, Mr. Dawson.
Yes.
And that question is, what is the most important thing that you have learned in your life?
Well, there's a lot of things I've learned in my life. You're never too old to learn. But one thing I have learned in life, and that's through all the people I've met and situations I've been in, there's always a solution to a problem. The word impossible actually has no meaning. That is one thing that I've learned. The word impossible has no meaning. So as I say, the other favourite thing I've got is I don't look in the rear view mirror too much. It's very small. I rather look out the windscreen. Okay. Gives you a wider view on life.
Well, that's great, and I know you as a very positive person, and of course that's one of the reasons you've managed to help with getting this association going and all the things. So where do you think? What do you think about your future life? Because I have to say it that what are you, 52, 53?
Yeah.
So where do you think you're going to go in future as a farrier, or as a person?
As a person.
Yeah.
As a farrier, I think I would hate to ever say I'm hanging up my tools and putting my toolbox away and I'm never going to shoe another horse in my life. I would dread that day. My future lies obviously with this country and with the people in it, and I'm very fortunate in that I've got a beautiful place where we are pre-training and breaking horses and spelling horses, and I'm loving that. So that is an avenue where I'd look to go. But the future of farriery in South Africa, if we can carry on the way we are, and even if I do have to stop shoeing somehow, or for some cause, or for some reason, I would still like to be involved to get the youngsters going through, so they can have the quality of life that I've had and the people that I've met in my life.
That's great. Well, Robbie, you looked after me all this morning. You've been kind enough to give your time here to do this podcast, and as you know, you're a guinea pig. I've never done one before, so I thought, well, who can we try it out on? And I can just only thank you for giving your time and giving your wise words. Thank you.
Simon, thank you very much. And I think just on behalf of all the farriers in South Africa, a huge thank you to you and Stuart and James and Ginny, who's, I think you're really lucky to have Ginny. She is just a wonderful woman. But on behalf of all the farriers in South Africa and everybody that has known you from South Africa and there's people that have met you that have only ever heard about you people, and for them to meet you in person is a huge honor, and it's been an absolute privilege and an honor to have you people here and just to help us carry this great trade of farriery into the future.
Well, it was amazing. Our pleasure, and if I can just finish by letting listeners know that Ginny is our registrar, and James Sutton, Dr. James Sutton, was the veterinary examiner, and of course Stuart Armstrong was our other farrier examiner, and we as a team had a great time and saw some great work. So once more, Robbie, thank you very much for your time.
Absolute pleasure.
You can follow more of Simon's work on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. To get in contact, email thehoofofthehorse@gmail.com, or if you're interested in Simon's books, please go to curtisfarrierbooks.com. Thanks for listening.